Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay, so today we are going to learn one very important tool, and that is Datadog, and that is what we are going to discuss now. So before understanding the Datadog and getting into the demo and stuff like that, let's understand that what is a monitoring. So here monitoring has become a very important integral part of operations nowadays, to understand the ongoing behavior of application which is running in the production, and to understand the issues which is coming up and then fixing those issues, and also foresee that. So yeah, monitoring is the most basic component in their reliability pyramid, and enable incident response and postmortems. Remember here, it enables incident response. That means first incident happen, and then you get the incident response, and then you do the postmortem. So here you have a product which you developed. On top of that, capacity planning, testing, and plus release procedures, and then you do the postmortem, root cause analysis, incident response, and monitoring. Okay, so you do all this stuff in the monitoring, but the monitoring is dead. Yes, and because of observability. So now, how monitoring is different from observability? So here we need to understand monitorings monitoring tells you whether the system is working or not, whereas observability let you ask why it is not working. Tell me the reasons why it's not working. Okay, so there's a little bit slightly difference in monitoring and observability, and nowadays we are trying to set up a observability. We are not trying to monitor something. We are not trying to get the enable incident response and then postmortem. Beforehand only we are trying to take a steps to know that why this system is not working. So observability means assembling all fragments from logs, yes, from logs of the system, monitoring tools, and organize them in a such a way which gives actionable knowledge of the whole environment, thus creating an insight. Okay, so it's not only the monitoring, you get everything. You get a logs, you get infra monitoring done, you get a um, uh, performance monitoring done, you get a browser monitoring done, you get everything done, and organize that all the data, organize it in at a place, so you can get a actionable knowledge out of that. Okay, so monitoring, we used to do that earlier, but in today's environment we are trying to set up a observability. So observability is a superset of monitoring. It provides not only high level overviews of the system's health, but also highly granular insights into the implicit failure modes of the system. In addition, an observable system furnished ample context about its inner working, unlocking the an ability to uncover the deeper systematic issues. So here observability will help you to find out all the issues which is inside the system, inside the applications, and will help you to unlock the some of the knowledge which you might not get it from the monitoring also. On the other hand, monitoring is the best suited to report the overall health of the system and derive alerts. Okay, so observability is much more than that. Observability is a superset of monitoring. Okay, so if you see that again perspective here, look at this monitoring. You set up alerts and get an overview, but here in observability, which is a reactive, whereas monitoring is a proactive. Okay, so in the observability, you anticipate the future, you check the dependency analysis, you do the profiling also, debugging also, overview and alerting, everything. So this is the difference. Now if you put all the possible permutations of full and partial failures, you see that here observability including testing, yes, including testing plus monitoring, and together where testing best effort verification for correctness, monitoring predictable failures, and then best effort simulation of failures mode also for the future. This is called together observability. So yep, monitoring system should address two questions: what's broken and why, whereas observability is a property of a system, or monitoring is an activity we perform on a system. Okay, so observability covers the larger scope, monitoring is mainly used in the terms of metrics monitoring. So today we are trying to learn observability with the help of Datadog, not only monitoring tool. So from now onwards, we would not say a Datadog is a monitoring tool, it's an observability tool. So here, if you see that in observability hierarchy, what you can do, so you can diagnose the issues of environment by tracing logs, which has happened in the past. You can see the current status of matrices at a dashboard, which is happening now, present. And you can also detect the issues, states through signals and matrices, okay, and logs, and predict the future also. So all this thing from the slower to faster, you can get it done, everything get it done in observability hierarchy. So did you understand what is the difference between monitoring and observability, and why we are talking about the observability, not monitoring anymore? Any questions, any doubts so far?
No, Raj.
Okay,
Uh,
now you will hear one keyword
Hello.
a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, right. So one question. So basically, we will be getting these slides and all, right? Material.
Yeah, all the
For our
slides you will
reference.
have. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So basically, one question, one terminologies which is getting very popular nowadays in the world of observability, and that is called telemetry. Okay, so what is a telemetry? So telemetry is one of the frequent used keyword in the world of observability, monitoring and all. And telemetry is the collections of measurement or other data at a remote point, and their automatic transmissions to receiving equipment for monitoring. The word is derived from the Greek root called tele means remote, and metron means measure. Measure the remote and store it. That is the called telemetry. So telemetry has a four essentials data type. Yep, telemetry has a four essentials data type. In short, we call it melt also. And as part of the telemetry, collecting the data, collecting the matrices, or collecting the some information from the remote in a four format. One is called matrices, another one is called events, third one we call it a logs, and fourth one we call it a traces. Matrices just something like your CPU and RAM. Okay, that's called matrices from the system collected from the remote location. Events, any events like a system events, application events. Logs, any logs which may be data, system log, applications log, network log, or traces. Traces means request, the one which you make to the applications. Okay, traces. So all these things together we call it a melt, and these are the most four essentials telemetry data type. Okay, so now if when you want to set up a observability for your system, for your application, for your team, you need to set up everything. You need to set up a place where you can you need to set up a ways in which you need a matrices of the environment, you need a traces of your environment, and then you need a log. You need to store everything, matrices, traces, logs, events, everything, and then you will be able to set up a observability. Okay, so you see here how to achieve observability. So here you have a traces which talks about the relationship between the events. Okay, and examples would be like applications component involved during a request with an error, matrices measurement of an event, throughput error, rate, request durations and all, and logs, human readable events, which is system startup, output, process, and output. So this three things you have to get it, and then you'll be able to set up a observability. So here observability is equal to logging plus monitoring plus tracing and plus visualizations. All things together, you have to do that. You needed to do in a today's environment. Okay. So now the question is,
So, hello. So I
yeah,
didn't get this concept of tracing and matrices. Can you just repeat it again?
uh, tracing means, see, there is one application running, and hell lot of request is going being made to that applications. So that application, since someone has requested that request, until that he got a response, and tracing that request and a response, and performing the trace between the different services and microservices, and their response code and their response time is basically called a tracing. For example, I hit a website called devopsschool.com in my browser. So I requested something, and then devopsschool.com responded something, right? So it has traveled, my request has traveled from my browser to the web server, DNS server, to the web server, to app server, to database server, and all this thing has traveled, and then I got a response. That tracing from you to DNS to load balancer to applications, web server to application database, and then everything back is called tracing. Okay, that is a tracing. Are you understanding it?
Okay, so basically synthetic testing is a example of tracing, right, in Datadog?
No.
No?
Synthetic testing is a one form of tracing. One form of tracing. In a synthetic testing, it will tell you whether the endpoint is okay or not, endpoint is working or not. Okay,
Uh,
but here in tracing you have a much more than that. For example, it will tell you what is the time which has been spent in between app and web server, what is the time which has been spent in between app server and database server.
it's
Everything will tell you.
it's kind of like capturing the event, like capturing what is uh, what
Transactions.
yeah, transactions.
any transactions you do, web transactions, it is capturing everything in detail. And the one which you said synthetic monitoring is a part of the tracing. Okay, if you want to correlate the tracing, it is basically APMs, application performance management. Got it?
Okay, yeah, got it.
Okay, so this is the observability. So now the question is, what kind of data a system should produce? Okay, system should also produce some sort of data, so you can set up a observability very efficiently. So system should produce 4 different kind of data. One of the data which is related to health check, which is often called HTTP endpoint, and help orchestrator like a Kubernetes or Cloud Foundry or something like that. They are performed to maintain the excellent health of the system. Health check, something like HTTP endpoints, which is something like, you can say, synthetic, something correlated to synthetic. Now matrices. Matrices means it could be any matrices like disk space, CPU, RAM, network, any kind of matrices. Some application request, application server matrices, web server matrices, how many total web requests you got it, what was the response, and all everything is the matrices. And then anything which you do in the system which should generate a logs, so that's a log should be generated by the system, so you can set up a observability. And then tracing, like a distributed request or end-to-end tracing. So your system, if you want to set up observability and if you want to achieve the observability, then your system should produce this kind of 4 kind of data. Okay, that is important. So here, first one, let's talk about the matrices. And by now you know that matrices represent the data in your system. Monitoring is the process of collecting. Understand that. Matrices represent the data in your system. Monitoring is the process of collecting, aggregating, and analyzing those values to improve awareness of your component characteristics and behavior. Okay, so metrics capture a value pertaining to your system at a specific point in time. For example, number of users currently logged into your applications, or CPU utilization or RAM utilizations and stuff like that. It can be a metrics. Look at this, some of the examples of metrics. There are 2 important categories of metrics in our framework: work metrics and resource metrics. Work metrics like a throughput, success rate of your applications, error rate of your application, performance of your application. Resources metrics like utilization, like a CPU, RAM, and stuff like that, and saturation, error, availability, and event matrices like code changes in SCM, alerts, scaling events, etc, and all stuff like that is a metrics. Okay, now again, metrics, work metrics also has a uh, different definitions like a throughput, success, error, and performance, which you can understand this. Here you have example of work metrics. Example of work metrics, you can see here. Uh, what is the throughput? What is the success? What is the error rate? What is the performance? More or less, I think you know that. Throughput, which is a request per second. Success, which is a percentage of response that has success rate like 2x since that last measurement. Error means 3x, 5x, 4x, and all. And performance also percentile, 90th percentile, 95th percentile, 99th percentile, and all this thing you have it. Okay, so this is the now second type is the resource metrics. Resource metrics, which is like a utilization, saturation, error, and availability. These are the example of resource metrics like a disk, memory, microservices, database, and all stuff like that. So these are the different kind of matrices you get it by the system. Events, yes, in addition to the matrices which are collected more or less continuously, some monitoring system can also capture event. Okay, events which is discrete infrequent occurrences. So system event, network events, and all that can be. So that can provide crucial context for understanding what change in your system's behavior. Some of the examples of the events which include internal code releases, build failures, system events, already you know that, alerts, scaling events, and all stuff like that. These are some of the events example, what happened at what time, and some additional information. So we have tried to understand some of the building blocks of setting up the observability, but why observability is very hard to set up? Why? So if you look at this here, over the period of time, how we are evolved. So earlier we were using the legacy desktop, then we migrated to virtual machines, and then now we are migrated to containers. Okay. So, and earlier we were okay with the 5-6 desktop, 100 virtual machines, but now we are talking about the thousands and thousands of containers. I repeat, thousands of containers. So the platform also has changed over the period of time. It become a distributed in data centers, internet based. Okay. And then our software architecture also has changed. Earlier, if you look at this, all of your software were running in a monolithic way. Like monolithic means uh, everything is everything. I think Troy is sending some message. Let me see. So
This
now,
conference will now be recorded.
why this observability is so difficult? Because of, you see that we were running in the physical server, then VM, and then thousands of containers. But also software architecture also has changed over the period of time. So earlier we had a monolithic, everything in one system, one place. But we then got service oriented architecture, and then now what most of the architecture which we have is is microservices. Okay, so these are the things which we have. Okay, so right now this is also, you see, microservices. Now we don't have one service to trace it, we have hundreds of services to trace it. So this is called this is the different micro software architecture. Now if you see here, over the period of time our compute environment got changed, software architecture get changed, runtime environment got changed, a model got changed. So many things got changed in today's world. So now it's very difficult to set up observability. And when I say observability means log monitoring, inform monitoring, APM monitoring, synthetic monitoring, RAM monitoring, real-time monitoring, browser monitoring, everything is become so complex now. Okay, so what to do in this case? What to do? That is where we have a tool which is called Datadog. So now let's try to understand something about a Datadog. So now let's try to understand what is a Datadog and how Datadog will help you to set up a observability. Okay, so now the question is, what is a Datadog? So basically, guys, Datadog is a monitoring service. Yes, mind it. It says service, monitoring service. That means it's not something which you want to install and set up in your infrastructure. No, it's already running somewhere, available as a service, which is a cloud based service, scale application, providing monitoring of your servers. Yes, Datadog providing a monitoring of your servers, databases, tools, services, and but through SaaS based data analytics platform. Okay, so it's a SaaS based, software as a service based data analytics platform which is providing the different kind of monitoring services, which you can call it observability also, for all of your infrastructure applications and tools. Okay, so they built a Datadog to be a cloud infrastructure service with a dashboard, alerting, and visualizations of matrices. Datadog was listed in Forbes Cloud 100 and was ranked in the top 10 fastest growing companies in North America in Deloitte 2016 Fast 500 list. Datadog was founded in 2010 by Olivier Pommel and Alexis. Okay, this is the introduction of Datadog. Now the question is, why Datadog we need? Simple reason. The Datadog provide a functionality that we need in an easy to use manner that would be difficult to build and maintain ourselves. Remember, your objective is not to spend too much of time to build the functionality for observability in easy manner, because your priorities, your objective is to develop your software, the one which you are working. So Datadog provide all this functionality what you need it, but in easy manner. Okay, but if you do the Datadog, the whatever the functionality what Datadog provides, if you do your own way, then it's very difficult to build and maintain. So you'll have to focus on the whole things, on the building the whole monitoring infrastructure rather than developing your software. So Datadog helps you for that. Okay, providing functionality we need an easy to use manner that would be difficult to maintain, build and maintain ourselves. Simple. So what is the functionality you're looking for? So basically you're looking for a functionality, something like the agent, which can gather different kind of system matrices in a distributed environment. Okay, integrated with the key software what you can use it, and provide a standard interface to our application can send the custom metrics also. You are looking for some functionality like an integration. So integration which can integrate, pre-built integrate the pull the data from almost any system which you are using. Events. Through the integration, Datadog generate and consolidated event stream that we can filter and search as needed. And then dashboard. You need a functionality, right? So functionality, Datadog lets us build a dashboard that combine matrices from many different sources, and we can combine and transform matrices to make them more useful. It also provides a powerful interface for interactive exploration of matrices, and you need a functionality for alerting also, which Datadog has a nice stream processing capability for generating alerts, and it can surface them in a service we use like a PagerDuty and Slack. So these are the functionality when you set up observability. These are the functionality you need. The agent, which can do lots of things, integration available, events capturing, dashboard, and alerting. These are the functionality you have it, and you need this functionality. The agent, the integration, event, and Datadog is very powerful in it. And also on top of that, all this stuff which you see, the agent, integration, event, dashboard, and alerting is very easy to use it when it comes to database. And the same thing, if you want to replicate, it will take a lot of time and a lot of tools you have to involve. So you have to involve like many tools like Influx, Grafana DB, CollectD, and custom code to pull metrics to CloudWatch and stuff like that. Very hard to replicate. So in short, guys, what you are trying to set it up, observability for what? Applications. And you want to know whether my application is up. You want to know whether your application is slow, or whether you want to know whether your application is broken. So if you want to know application is up, that's called availability. Datadog will help you. If you want to know your application is slow, that's called performance monitoring. That Datadog will help you. And if you want to know that your application is broken or not, that's called reliability. Datadog will help you. Broken means logs and all. Availability, is it up means infra monitoring, is it slow means performance monitoring, synthetic monitoring, right? So all this thing you have to know. Same goes with the whether your network is up or network is slow, or network is broken, or
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
your server is up, server is slow, or server is broken. Every place is nowadays Datadog will help you, and that's the reason Datadog has become a observability tool, not a monitoring tool. Are you understanding this? Any
Yes,
questions,
sir.
guys? Yeah. Any questions?
No, Raj.
Yeah. Okay. So how to work with Datadog then? How to work with it? So guys, as I said, Datadog is a software as a service. It's a service actually available at the cloud. So nothing more to get it done here. Workflow is very simple. First, install the agent, and once the agent is installed, set up the integration, like okay, which are the data you want. Which are the data you want? You want the system data, you want the network data, you want the Apache data, you want the MySQL data. Okay, what data? Logs, matrices, performance, what data you want. So set up integration, and then every data you have in with a Datadog, which you can experience on the dashboard, graphs, and through monitoring, I mean alerting. Here when we say monitoring means alerting. Okay, that's all. Simple. So install the agent, set up an integration, get started in app. So that is a workflow. So when you look at the Datadog architecture, though very limited information is available, agent is very important as part of it. Agent send all the data to one of the APIs of Datadog. An API store all the data in some places, and from there it display on the dashboard. So yeah, uh, very limited information on that Datadog backend, but yeah, we know that the Datadog backend, then, which is based on the SaaS, is built using a number of open source and closed source technology, including D3, Apache Cassandra, Kafka, PostgreSQL, and stuff like that. Whereas the Datadog agent, which we have a control of, the Datadog uses a Go-based agent. It's written in Go. Earlier it was written in Python, but now it's a Go, and which we use, which will install it. So which are the feature you have in Datadog? So yes, it has a 350 plus integrations. Okay, 400 plus integrations here you have. Okay, and so the integration including many things which you can think of. You have a real-time interactive dashboard which can help you to correlate matrices, trace logs, and more of collaborative analysis. Unified log management tool you have, which monitor the logs, matrices, and request traces in one platform of full stack visibility. Next generation APM you have. APM means application performance management, which monitor, troubleshoot, optimize, and end-to-end application performance. Network performance monitoring you have. Visualize traffic flow in flow in cloud native environments. Simplified synthetic monitoring you have. End-to-end visibility across the stack in a single platform. Real user monitoring you have. End-to-end visibility into the user's journey throughout the tech stack. Actionable alerting features you have it. So in short, you have so many features, and that's the reason the Datadog has become one of the successful observability system to set up. So you have a more than 400 built-in integrations, RAM, real-time interactive dashboards, log management, APM, network, synthetic, RAM, external alertings, and everything you have it. Again, API references, you can customize the stuff also, and we can get started. Any questions so far, guys?
From my side.
No,
Any question? So now you can get started. Anyone can get started with the Datadog. The website is datadoghq.com, and you get a free trial for 14 days. When you look at the pricing, again you see that you can compare between the free and pros. So some of the services which is free throughout the all time free, but pro you have many things available. Okay, now if you see that free, and when they say infrastructure monitoring is free, actually it's only up to the 5 nodes. 6th node onwards you have to pay for it. Okay, so mind it for that. Log management is available only for pro APM network, but for the 14 days trial period you get everything free. I mean everything free, you can choose everything. So see that pricing, I think this is something which you will find interest only if you become a pro in the Datadog. About this when you will be asked by your project to find out. So these are the cost structure per host. Okay, per host per month, mind it, per host per month. So infrastructure, APM, log management, RAM, synthetic, serviceless, all stuff like that. So you can get started. No credit card required, nothing. You can get started for 14 days, and after that you can decide here. This is the get an account started. Choose what you want to monitor. Set up an agent, that's all, and get started. So before talking about the terminologies, I would like you to I would like to register at this website. So Datadog HQ, Datadog HQ, and here I'm trying to log in. Sorry, get started free. Sorry, not login, because my trial account will get limited stuff. So here I'm trying to log in. So which data center where you want the data to be stored? US and Europe. There's no in India right now. So let's go for the US. Email, full name Rajesh, company DevOps School, password, I'll just go for it. Phone number not needed, sign up. Okay, so here it is. That's all. You can get started. What do you want to monitor now? What you want to monitor? So before me starting and set up the all this stuff, I would like to know. Hello.
yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, my power has gone. So
This conference
okay.
will now
So
be recorded.
now you saw that it was so easy to register. I got it. But before you selecting here, I want to know what is your requirement for this training. So if you tell me, that will be great. What is your requirement, each one of you? Can you please share some of the information about this?
Yeah, right. So
Dev?
basically, yeah, so I have to work on Datadog tool to monitor my basically all the setup, whatever setup is there. So basically, we are working on AWS. We are working on web-based applications. We are working on DBs like Oracle, Postgres. So I need to monitor everything. I mean, I need to implement Datadog for each and every application. So I have
Okay,
approximately 15 to 18 applications that I need to track using Datadog.
great. What about Ghosh?
Um, Rajesh, like I have all of them, like Nginx, PHP, .NET, Ruby, Java. These are the major technologies what we have now in our and databases like MySQL, MS SQL, Postgres,
Okay, great.
Apache Tomcat, as you know.
Yeah. So same thing we will set it up, whichever you have, because as I said, you have a Datadog has a 400 plus integration, more than that, 400 plus more than that. So everything cannot be possible, but we'll stick to the some of the popular stick. So that way it will be good for us. Now you see that here they have options, what you want to do, what you want to monitor. Tell me which services or software do you use it. So you can select whichever you want, AWS, Docker, Kubernetes, let's say a Splunk, Ansible, Azure, Kafka, Apache, Tomcat, whichever. I mean, just a selection, nothing great. Next. Okay. And now you've been asked to set up an agent here, this agent. Now, if you look at this here, uh, agent for the platform specific agent, and remind it, agent has been written in Golang. So agent is very important to capture the uh, data. Are you able to hear me clearly without any interruption?
Yes.
Okay. So here, if you see that, look at it very carefully. These are the agent till CoreOS. And now here, Docker, Kubernetes, OpenShift. These are the for the container platform. And if you see here, from here to here, these tools, Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Salt. These are the ways to deploy the agent at the mass. Okay, mind it. So which tool you are comfortable? Chef, Puppet, Ansible, which one? Salt. Which tools you are
Sorry,
comfortable?
I haven't worked on any tool.
So if you want to deploy any applications, I mean agent basically in hundreds of machines. So one of the tools will help you. Nowadays, Ansible is most popular, but yeah, all the other tools also will help you. So understand that. So how you want to install agent? Do you want to install agent through this tools, or you want to install agent in the Docker and Kubernetes environment, or do you want to install agent in these operating system based VMs or physical machines? So you can select, and it's a self-service, nothing great. But you know what? It's a very simple work which you can get it done in 5 minutes also. But important thing is you have to understand the agent first. What is agent? How it works? What are the components we have? And many things. So before me showing you the one demo of 10 minutes quickly, I would like to tell you about the agent. Let's know about the agent. So here, some of the terminologies which we use in the Datadog, which is called agent, dog stash d, and matrices. Now let's get started. So here, agent is a very important part of Datadog ecosystem to gather the different kind of matrices, events, traces, logs, everything. Only agent can help you here. Okay, so here the agent is a lightweight software which is installed on your host. It reports metrics and event from your host to Datadog via integration, two ways, three ways: integration, or dog stash d, or the API. So the agent which is installed, it can send the data to the Datadog through the integration which you set it up, like Apache integration, or Tomcat integration, or something like that. Or it can help you through the dog stash d also. Dog stash d, I'll talk about it, or the API. Okay. And with additional setup, the agent can also report live processes such as logs and traces. So not only matrices, it can send the logs also and traces also. So everything will be done by agent. So now the question is how the Datadog agent works. So look at this here. This is the one of the simple architecture. So Datadog agent, primarily you have a three things. One is collector, and one is a dog stash d, which is a running as a service, and then we have a forwarder. So collector collect the different data from the different sources and send through HTTP to the forwarder, which is inbuilt with the agent itself, and forwarder sent to the Datadog SaaS. Okay, whereas the Datadog dog stash do also do the same thing, but gather the data from the UDP, where the collector can gather the data from the different sources through the network also, but dog stash d gather the data from the UDP protocol and then send to the forwarder, and forwarder send back to the Datadog SaaS. Okay, so now which are the platform where you can use it? You know that almost all the platform is supported. Okay, so now what is a stash d? Remember, here I did talked about dog stash d, not stash d. Both are different. Dog stash d is different, stash d is different. So you need to know what is a stash d, so you will come to know dog stash d. Okay, so stash d basically, okay, basically, and originally it is a simple daemon developed and released by etc, one of the community organization, etc, to do what? To aggregate and summarize the application matrices. Okay, that was developed and it's become open source. Okay, it is open source but developed and released by etc. Now with stasd, what can you do? So this will running as a daemon in your system, and with this application are to be instrumented by developer using a language specific client library. What does that mean? So in simple way, if I tell you, uh, stasd has a different kind of language specific client libraries. Language specific client library means for Java there's one client libraries, for C++, .NET or PHP or Perl and Python different client library. So using that kind client library, what you can do is you can instrument your application, your software which you are running. Okay, your software. So using that client library, you will instrument that library, your application, and then when you run that your application, those libraries will then communicate with the stasd daemon. Yeah, instrumentation means is like embedding some code in your code. Yeah, embedding some of the stasd code in your code. So what will happen because of this? Because of this, all the code which you have instrumented will start talking to stasd with the information which you are looking for it, like some matrices which you want to collect from the applications. So here daemon will then aggregate matrices and relay them to virtually any graphing. Mind it, once the client library will send the application detail matrices, events, logs, and anything whatever you want, then daemon will then generate aggregate matrix and relay them to virtually any graphing tool. Graphing tools means any graphing tool, you know, any graphing tool.
We have the Excel.
Graphing tool, there are two tools which is very popular. One is Kibana and one is Grafana. Okay, so in the world of monitoring, you should know these two graphing tool. And monitoring backend, anyone would like to tell me monitoring backend? Monitoring backend means the place where you store the all the data means all the matrices, all the logs, all the transaction you have to store somewhere, right? So where can you store? So one of the popular place where you can store is Prometheus. I mean inbuilt you have, or if you don't want to use Prometheus, you can use uh, this one Elasticsearch. If you don't want Elasticsearch, you can use InfluxDB. InfluxDB. Many people use Postgres also for monitoring backend. So where you want to store. So yes, this is something like you are building up yourself. Remember, it's very difficult to build it. Okay, but StaashD is open source, available freely for everyone. This is what you can do with the StaashD. Okay, so simple. Step number one, using the StaashD client library, you instrument the application, you run the application will send the data which you have configured to StaashD daemon. StaashD daemon will aggregate those matrices and relay them, means send them for the graphing or monitoring backend. Okay, you can send to monitoring backend, it will be stored, and then from there again graphing can use, or directly you can send to the graphing. So that's called StaashD. Now you must be wondering why we are discussing StaashD. Okay, so there are so many things also we need to know about how StaashD work. I will let you read this stuff. Okay, what kind of matrices it you know um, here, what kind of matrices is the aggregate. So basically it aggregate gauge, counter, timing, summary, statistics, and sets. These are the matrices it aggregate, and some of the percentiles also, like 90th percentile, 95th percentiles, and all many matrices which basically it process. But why we are discussing here, look at this diagram, how StaashD work. Which is instrumented app will send the data to the StaashD aggregator, and aggregated you can store to the backend storage. That is how it happens. But the question is, these are all the pictures you see here, different client libraries sending the data to the data StaashD server, and from then you are storing to some monitoring backend. Here also look at this little bit broader picture, different kind of UDP based data you are sending to StaashD, and StaashD sending the data, it can send it to the Neuralink, Datadog, Graphite, etc, and so many things. So like that. So now the question is, how is StaashD is related in a Datadog? So basically guys, the Datadog agent which you see here is a big fan of StaashD. Yes, Datadog is a big fan of StaashD and use it extensively internally. Yeah. Customer to submit matrices from StaashD into Datadog graphing, alerting, event correlation, and team collaboration. Yes. So Datadog embed our own StaashD daemon within the Datadog agent. So now when you talk about the Datadog agent, it has embedded StaashD to make the setup as simple as possible. Are you getting it, guys? Are you getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
So basically what has happened, StaashD has been used by Datadog agent inbuilt, and then what Datadog has done, Datadog extended the StaashD protocol by supporting tagging. So tagging was one of the feature which was missing in StaashD. So you cannot do the custom tagging. But what Datadog did, Datadog extended that feature, and so with the tagging, and then they are using in this form. So Datadog made it very easy to discover StaashD matrices in a Datadog UI, and every host will automatically advertise its matrices, so you don't have to look for them. Okay, so this is the Datadog agent history. It is coming from StaashD, which is open source. Okay, so now you see here, from now no StaashD, only dog StaashD, which has a additional feature of tagging. So now you have a system, it can send the data through UDP and StaashD to dog StaashD, and from that dog StaashD through HTTP, it's sent to the Datadog HP. The data which can be aggregated, while StaashD accept only metrics, mind it, StaashD accept only metrics, dog StaashD accept all three of the major Datadog data types: metrics, events, and service. So this is the dog StaashD. So guys, in a version 6 of Datadog agent, dog StaashD is a Golang implementations of etc StaashD metric aggregation daemon. It is used to receive and roll up an arbitrary matrices over UDP and Unix socket, thus allowing custom code to be instrumented without adding latency. So now how does stasd work? So let's understand a little bit of this one also. So doc-stasd accept the custom metrics, events, and service check over UDP and periodically aggregates and forward them to Datadog API. Okay, because it uses UDP, your application can send metrics to doc-stasd and resume its work without waiting for a response. So it's a one-way communication. If doc-stasd ever become unavailable, your application won't experience any interruptions also. So if your application is sending a data over the UDP to the doc-stasd, and let's say suddenly the doc-stasd is not working, so your application will have no effect on it. So as it receives the data, doc-stasd aggregate multiple data point for each unique metric into a single data point over the period of time and called as a flush interval, which can be 10 seconds, 50 seconds, 20 seconds and all. You can set it up. Okay, so now you see here different source send the data over the UDP to doc-stasd, doc-stasd send the data to Datadog. Okay, so now what are the major difference here? Easiest way to get your custom application metrics into Datadog is to send them to doc-stasd, not a stasd. A metrics aggregation service bundled with the Datadog agent. So here doc-stasd implement the stasd protocol and add a few Datadog specific extensions. So here what happens, doc-stasd implement the stasd protocol and same time they add some of the few specific extensions, for example histogram, service check, events, tagging. So these are the additional feature which has been added by doc-stasd. Now the question is how to configure agent. When you install the agent, how to configure? So doc-stasd is enabled by default over UDP port 8125 in the latest agent which we will install it. Okay, so mind it here, by default it listen on 8125. Okay, you see that if you want to change the port you can do so, but by default it's listen on 8125. And you can also configure doc-stasd to use Unix domain socket and to enable the custom agent doc-stasd server UDP port you can configure that file. So which file? So there's one file, you just remember this file name actually. The file is datadog.yaml file, which have all the configurations for Datadog agent. Mind it, again I'm repeating, the file name which will be having datadog.yaml file, which will have all the configurations to customize the Datadog. Okay, so you might have noticed one more thing which we have in the Datadog agent, which is called collector. So the collector gather all the standard matrices every 15 seconds and send the data to the forwarder and then Datadog. Forwarder, you know that the agent forwarder send metrics over HTTP to Datadog. Buffering prevent network splits from affecting metrics reporting. Metrics are buffered in the memory until a limit in size or number of outstanding send requests are reached. So that's a forwarder. So altogether Datadog has three component: Datadog D, stasd, stasd, doc-stasd, collector and forwarder. Okay, did you understand that, guys? All of
I
you,
have,
any questions?
yeah, Raj, when you say that the agent is comprised of doc-stasd and collector and forwarder, so what it does, like the stasd, Datadog stasd, so collector is doing the collection and it is forwarding to the forwarder. So is it the collector is taking the help of doc-stasd to collect the data, or the forwarder is taking the help of StatsD to forward those metrics to Datadog SAS? Like I got confused there.
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
Okay, so see here, there are few parts of it. One thing is, by default, there are many tools which exist in your operating system, which gives you so much of information about. By default, you're not installing anything. In every Linux machines, like a systemd and every Windows machines, there are certain utilities already pre-built by operating system itself. And those utility, what they do, they expose the information about the system. I said system. Like what? Like CPU, like a RAM, like a disk, like a network, like events. Are you getting this stuff? So you don't need any monitoring tool to get those data. This tool is already there. So now the question was, what is a collector? So collector is been coded to just fetch the data at certain interval for those pre-existing tool. Are you getting my points?
Yeah.
So collector is not doing anything great. It's just to fetch the data from the pre-existing tool and forward that to forwarder, and forwarder job is to send that to Datadog. See here, the agent forwarder send matrices over HTTP to Datadog, and it has some built-in mechanism, so it will not affect your system if internet issues or something like that. That's a collector and forwarder. Now the question is, what is a dog stash D? So guys, dog stash D basically will help you to send the data. For that, you don't have any inbuilt tool. Which data? Your application data. What application data? So your application which you are running in your system. Are you getting my points?
Yes.
Remember, your tools which is already built in a system is designed to send the sum of the popular matrices, but your application is not popular for them. So how do you send those data, your application data? Your application, the Java programs or PHP programs or Python programs, they also, you want to get that data also, right?
Yes.
So for that data, you need a dog stash D. Okay, so dog stash D can here on the UDP port 8125, and here I said, right, instrumentation process where you instrument your application and send the data over the UDP to a stash D. Here stash D is a part of the dog stash D. So now you instrument the data, it will send to the dog stash D over the port number 8125, and then dog stash D will send to forwarder. So one way you get the popular matrices, another way you get the custom matrices also. Are you getting?
Okay. Yes. So StatsD, that is dog StatsD is usually the metrics which are not being published by the system, like custom metrics it's gonna collect, and that's gonna forward it to the forwarder, and forwarded will forward to the Datadog SAS.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, but dog stash do is doing a little bit more work than stash D. It will do the 4 things extra. It will add one more metrics type. Remember, stash D has a 4 metric type, which I talked about here. Look at this.
Histogram.
Yeah, just a second, hold on, I'll tell you. See here, gauges, first line, first statement, gauge, counters, timing, summary, statistics, and set. So stash D sent 4 data, but dog stash D sent 4 plus additional data to the forwarder. Histogram metrics also, service checks also, events also, and tag also sent to the forwarder. So that's the advantage over dog stash D and stash D. Got it?
Yes.
So this is the stuff. Now guys, if you want the agent GUI also, that is possible. Yes, I will show you during the demo. Okay, you can configure the port on which the GUI runs in the Datadog YAML file. Yep. So if you want to access the GUI, you can configure the port. To disable the GUI, just set the port value to -1. Most of the time you disable it only in the production, but in the pre-production and learning purpose or sometime troubleshooting purpose, you can enable it. So for the Windows and Mac, GUI is enabled by default, by the way, and which runs on 5000 port. But for the Linux, you have to enable it. It is disabled by default. So you have to understand that. Remember the port number is 5002. And one more thing, mind it, every configuration, just hard code your mindset while working with the Datadog. The configuration file is datadog.yaml. Okay, so when agent is running, use the datadog-agent launch-GUI command to open up GUI in your web browser. I'll show you that one and stuff like that. Okay, so these are some of the requirements for the agent, GUI agent. So I'll just skip it. Okay, now the question is how Datadog agent services in Windows named in Windows. You see a service name Datadog agent, Datadog trace agent, Datadog process agent. These are the services you will see in the Windows machine. Which other port is being used in Windows and OS X? So 5000 port for the exposing runtime metrics about the agent, 5001 for use by agent CLI and GUI to send commands and pull information from the running agent, 5002 for the GUI, 8125 for UDP send the Datadog docs-d information to the docs-d. Okay, so these are some of the commands of agent, sub commands basically. Datadog agent, whatever you have, these are the sub commands. So check, config check, diagnose, flare, health, help, hostname, import, install service, launch GUI, resume port, remote service, restart, stop, and all stuff like that. So these are the sub commands you have, and throughout the sessions we will use these commands. Just be comfortable with it. Check, which will check the integration specified check. Config check will check your YAML file whether it's good or not, loaded or not. Diagnose to check the connectivity. Flare to send some dummy data to the Datadog just to check. Health will report the print the current agent health, host name. If you want to import the configuration, then import command. Install service if you want to install some services and all. Install service, GUI, again restart, stop, start, and all stuff like that. So yep, these are the commands. This is the configuration file which you need to know very well. Without that, we'll not move on. So yep, here you have a Datadog agent configuration file. Everything you put it up in this file only. To start with, it'll be small file, but this is the template which we have, which you need to spend most of the time. I repeat, while working with the Datadog, this is the place we have to spend most of the time. So this is one of the template which has all the possible configurations available. You don't need to know everything at one go, but better if you go once, read it each and every sections. It'll be easy for you to understand that. Okay, so this is a configuration file. Okay, so different locations in a different operating system, more or less under the Linux, under the etc Datadog agent. In Windows, you will see under the program data, Datadog YAML. So you just have to hard code your stuff. Different operating system, more or less is in this session, we will use Ubuntu or CentOS. So under the etc, you will find it. Now there's a Datadog agent configuration directory also, where you enable the integration. So the integration directory you have to remember etc Datadog agent conf.d, mind it. In Windows it will be there in the program data Datadog conf.d. So this file you have to remember. This directory you need to remember for enabling the integrations is very important. And that's all. Now, if you want to enable Datadog agent check configuration file, let's say some integration, let's say Apache you want to enable. So how do you enable that? This is just the idea. Remember, all the integration configuration files located in the conf.d. So if you want to enable or disable any integrations, you have to do the changes inside the conf.d and their proper integration. For example, HTTP check is for HTTP, like that. So you'll have a name for the check and you have to modify those files, YAML files, backend and frontend to enable the check. Now this check, it can be database check. This check, it can be Apache, Tomcat monitoring, MySQL, Postgres, anything. There's some check which is default by enabled by default, and some check which will not be default enabled by default, so you have to enable it. So I'll teach you that one how can enable. But remember this path,
Yeah,
convert.
Raj, your voice is getting low.
Is it? Let me.
Mic or something.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So this is the one. Now, how to troubleshoot? We'll have a dedicated sessions on that troubleshooting. But yeah, I'll just make you comfortable with it. Troubleshooting is like agent troubleshooting most of the time. So I'll teach you that one. Now, how to start the agent? So different command lines are there for starting the agent. So you see that in AIX you have different command, Linux you have different, Docker we have different, Kubernetes we have different, Mac we have different commands. So like that. Stopping the commands also are different. Service status, if you want to check, you have a different commands here. Agent status, you want to check, you have a different command to check that agent status. That's all. So now what you have to do. So after understanding the agent, you have only one things to do. Create a dashboard, create a monitoring, means alerting, install 3 or more integrations, start processing, analyzing the logs, APMs, invite your team. So these are the things which you have to do. Any questions so far, guys? Any questions?
No, Raj, not from my side.
Okay. So guys, now I'm not running through slides because we have spent good amount of time on the slides. Probably next sessions I'll start with it, but I would like to show you the quick demo on it. Okay, so quick demo will be good for you. So you can also get started. So first of all, I will open up DevOpsSchool/blog. Okay, and I would like to show you anything which you want to search here. Just type Datadog in the blog. Okay, and here you see all the tutorial step by step with a screenshot. But what I'm trying to do here I am trying to create one box. Okay, so one Linux box. So what I'm going to do, look at my screen, instance. In front of you, I'm creating one instance. Okay, I'll change, yeah. So now here, launch instance. And which operating system you want, CentOS 7 or Ubuntu? All of you?
Yep, we go with the Ubuntu.
Okay, so we'll go for Ubuntu. I think Ubuntu will be here somewhere. Here. So select one CPU, 1 GB RAM is too much for demo. One machine. Add storage 8 GB is okay. Here name Datadog Linux and configure security. This I'm creating one uh, one machine so I can set it up to monitoring. I launch the instance. Done. So my instance is ready. Meanwhile, what I'll do, I'll convert the putty PEM to PPK, which you know that, I believe. So I'm creating one machines where I can monitor, set up a monitoring. So got the PPK file. Now I'm going to modify the security groups because it will not allow. So for that, security groups, edit inbounds, and here I'll make it from anywhere. So now I got the machines ready for the demo. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to click on this instance. Look at it, so easy. Details, get the IP address, go to putty, here, locate the PPK file, and username for Ubuntu typically is Ubuntu itself. So I'll just type Ubuntu, key I have given, I have logged in. And for better view, I will show you in a good. So guys, this is the machines for the demo. Did you understand that so far? Any questions?
No, Raj.
Now if you see that, I will follow now. Which operating system you want to install a agent? Ubuntu. Now what to do is simple. Just copy this whole commands. Okay, that's all. You should read it whole details also, whatever you have it. But this is more than sufficient. Just copy this and simply you run this here. Enter. Okay, and you see here Datadog agent install script is being installed, getting installed. And almost is being done. and done. So guys, now you have to get comfortable. You just need to copy this information, is very important information for yourself. Notepad. It's just a matter of time till you get comfortable. So here you see this is the configuration locations, configuration file. Okay, and here this is the way to stop this, and this is the way to start it. Okay, that's all. These are the 3 commands you need to know. So after that, see here, stop, status. Okay, this is the status command. Status, see here, running. Stop this agent. I'm stopping it. Status, see it's not running. Start this. Okay, now Datadog agent, if you see, enter, you see all this command which I was showing you on the screen. See here, these are the check, config check, and all stuff like that. We will experience this command one time, one by one. Right now I am using stop, status, and start. Somewhere it should be start. I can't locate it easily, by the way. Status is there, stop is there. In document start is not there. Okay, so like this. Now I would like to show you the configuration file etc datadog. You need to understand and hard code your minds with this path. See here, this is the file which I was talking about, is a configuration file. It's the most important file for the agent configuration. And this directory I was talking about, where if you want to integrate more check, more integration, you want to send more data to the Datadog, you have to enable. If you go inside that, lots of integrations you can do it here. Right now it's not enabled, but you have to install it. I'll show you that how to install it. You can just check the conf.d also, and here also you see lots of integration you can enable. Conf.d, see here. So you want to Istio enable, or you want to configure for Nginx, or you want to configure for, let's say, Postgres database, which is here. By default it's a disable, by the way. By default it's a disable. You see here, any file which is YAML which is enabled by default, but it's not YAML, right? Dot example has been added, but some of the things will be enabled by default, like a systemd and all. So see here, systemd, I'm expecting this to be enabled. This is also disabled right now. Okay, so like this. So if you want to enable anything, you have to configure those YAML file and rename it to the YAML and remove the dot example. So this is the directory where you're going to configure. That's a file, and that's the agent. Did you get any doubts, any questions so far?
Raj, you told that check.d will have a lot of configuration. So is it something like customized configuration?
Customized one, yeah. When we install that integration, we can customize, we can put some of the R configurations also,
Okay.
some of the custom checks also.
So instead of doing in config.yaml file, we can do there as well, how it goes.
Custom will go there, but integration will be here in the conf.d.
Okay, good. So it's
Now,
gonna be like after we integrate, we can do that custom, right?
right, yeah, custom check. We will do the last session on the custom one.
Okay, got it.
So now you see I install the agent, it's running. Can I do the next? See here, your first Datadog agent is reporting, in fact, reporting to Datadog with the data. Congrats, next. So some data will be reported, which is a default check. You can see the check which is a default here. So can I check? I can go to this and enter which are the check. Here you can see config check. So config check, I'm going to check which is enabled, and here permission denied, no problem, sudo. See here, these are the check. You see that it's enabled by default. CPU check is enabled. Where it's enabled, you see that here, cpu.d. This is enabled. And disk check, file handle check, IO check, memory check, network check, NTP check, uptime check. So these are the check is enabled by default. You can customize in those files again. And you see account. So step number 1 is done, second done, third is done, fourth optional. Install integration. You want to install integration. Integration means CloudWatch, because they detected immediately it's a AWS. This will not come. They detected immediately it's a AWS. So they say, do you want to integrate with a CloudWatch, CloudTrail, CloudFormation, billing, monitoring? You can do all stuff like that. Right now, not interested. Skip. And guys, now you have a data here. And now after the installing the agent and working with it, you have to spend some time here. You see here, you have one host reporting. So now you have to understand this UI. For that, I have a detailed discussions already in place. So here, so this is the one of the machines which is reporting. So many UIs are here. Right now I am monitoring only one, and see so much of data which I want to show you. See here, this is the instance name of me, up, CPU, all stuff like that. NTP and system is enabled. Click on it and see so much of matrices here, and they will automatically populate the nice dashboard. Though you can customize the dashboard yourself also, you can create your, but Datadog is all about the easy to create a dashboard. So many dashboard you can get it in a no time. See here, these are all the graph. You can customize it for CPU uses, memory uses, load average, memory breakdown, available swap, disk uses, network input output, everything you have here of past 1 hour. So we will spend some time here, but I'll just make you comfortable here. Now the question is, where is the step-by-step informations to do that? So if you go here, guys, if you go here, this is the tutorial you can follow, how to install Datadog agent in CentOS, which will be something similar to Ubuntu also. Here you have Datadog agent setup in Windows. Okay, so you can follow this tutorial for Linux, Ubuntu, also something similar. So all this information you have it here, and get comfortable. These are the commands which you have to try it out. Okay, any questions so far, guys?
No.
Okay, so this was the introduction session.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan, and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.